welcome to another episode of Deep True Crime. I'm Mandie Reusch. In today's episode, I want to cover some of the most deranged text messages a person can send to another person. So bad, it is said to have led to his suicide. That's right, folks. Mandie Reusch. She has been arrested for allegedly assisting in his suicide. Her ex-boyfriend, who is an Army veteran, rest in peace, Kevin Metzger, taken from this world way too soon. Generally, when it comes to, suicides and stuff like that, I don't really normally cover content like that. But this one's I'm going to make a little exception here because this is heinous. It's ugly. I always wonder, how can someone be so ugly? We've all said things we regret. We've all said things in that heat of the moment. Have we ever stooped this low? Let's go ahead and dive into what we know at this time. I'll be right back. This is the case of Kevin Metzger, who is someone who actually took his own life. But what may have led up to that is some of the most heinous things you'll ever come across. In a shocking series of text messages, this woman, Mandie Reusch, who is his ex-girlfriend, is accused of driving her Army veteran boyfriend to doing the unthinkable, taking his own life. She told him that he would never see his daughter again and sent him a video of her giving oral sex to her new man. Now, Mandie, as you can see in this picture, she has been arraigned outside of Pittsburgh on Tuesday of this past week on charges of aiding suicide and harassment involving the death of her estranged boyfriend and the father of her daughter. Kevin Metzger was only 37 years old when he took his own life in June of 2021. DailyMail.com, they got the exclusive rights and they obtained dozens of abusive messages that was sent over WhatsApp in which Reusch urged the former soldier to kill himself. That's why she is now arrested for this unbelievable story. And so she even threatened to shoot him and mocked him over the death of his beloved dog. If you're an animal lover, you know what a dog can mean to another person. She used that as a tool to hurt him. And from what it looks like it definitely helped. Now, she described in graphic detail sex with other men and sent a 49-second clip of her performing oral on her new partner as she berated Metzger with messages about how he was ugly, bald, and had rotten teeth. Police said the messages for which she was indicted were among the most extreme examples of bullying they had ever seen. My friends, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that she should have been arrested for this? Because she didn't actually do it. She might have led up to it. I am for one that says, yes, you look like you might have helped lead to this most heinous thing. A person can be weak and most vulnerable at the worst times. And if you're using their child against them, you can believe they are going to hurt inside, outside, every which way. It's exactly what she did. Just weeks after the barrage of text messages, he goes to Facebook before killing himself. And he writes on Facebook when he does a post, I can't do this anymore. She needs to be punished. The courts are too slow. So this was his way of getting back at her. Now, thank you for everyone who's joining us this morning. We have some that are saying, yes, she should have been arrested. I agree with that. Good morning, Michelle. And so here we are. Now she is actually arrested. Again, this happened in June of 2021. And so she starts sending him a barrage of ugly messages. Literally. You can see in this right here, I've highlighted some because I'm not going to go into everything. But she says you will not be permitted to be around your daughter, basically, unless a court is involved. She says you won't see her for Father's Day. You won't, or any holiday. A big warning. You are not going to see your children. She says my kids will be literally better off with any role model other than you. You will not be hearing from me after this text. Now, that was just one of the many texts. Literally. She even puts here, you show up here again, we have a gun and I will call the police. From now on, we are, and she's referring to the new boyfriend's surname. She says, we are now his surname and you do not exist. Referring to boyfriend, the new boyfriend is her dad now. Again, Army veteran, we already know that the people in the service, we hear that 22 soldiers commit suicide a day on average. Okay? So here we have another Army veteran who was dealing with stuff already probably for being in the service. Then you have these ugly messages. My friends, I'm not going to play like he was super innocent. I don't know. There's always two sides to every story. So when we dive into the trial of this, you best believe a lot of it will be coming out. His side, her side. His defense, you can even see her defense will be that he was abusive. He was hurting. He was doing this, doing that, and whatnot. So maybe he plays some type of role. I don't know. Let's just be clear on this part as well. I don't know what role he could have played. In these text messages, she does call him abusive. She calls him abusive. But right now, the only text messages we're seeing are from her to him. Now, what she has shared is ugly beyond ugly. She refers to him as a wife beater. We'll get into that in a second. If he abused her, that should have been handled in court. There should be documents of that. But what she did through these text messages, we're not done. So I want to just stop right there and say, I'm not saying that Kevin is innocent. If he did beat on her, that is definitely not okay. But where's that proof? That's just hearsay right now. These text messages are directly from her to him. It's hard to say hearsay, right? Right now, we only hear her side in these heinous messages. So I just wanted to make sure that we are very clear on this story in reference to that. And so she continues that, don't ever ask about her again, referring to his daughter. You'll never hear about her again. And so that's why it's like, okay, you're threatening this man at 2:49 in the morning, 2:50 in the morning in May, Cinco de Mayo. And so you're threatening him in the middle of the night, sending these heinous, why aren't you sleeping? I don't know. I'm not judging that. That has nothing to do with this story. But the bottom line is, why do you have so much time in your hands that you're going to do this? And so she's like, hey, you can watch a movie about Mr. Rogers. Of course, there was a movie about Mr. Rogers. And then mentally abuse your child's mother the week of Mother's Day and still think you've been wrong. Now, let me preface this by saying that when she's talking about the week of Mother's Day, from what I can gather, she was talking about some money that she wanted from him. And I don't know if she just gave him he just gave her $200, didn't have enough. I don't know the whole story behind this, but him not giving her a bunch of money upset her beyond. Again, two sides to every story. I don't know both. I'm sharing what we do know at this time. It's a developing story, right? She's just now been arrested. He was said to have committed suicide in June of 2021. That is a fact. He even puts on here of the Facebook post, and he's like, she needs to pay. The courts won't do anything. Now, remind you, when his friends see this Facebook post, they start getting worried. And that's when 911 is called because they want a health check. They want a wellness check. They want to make sure he's okay. But they feel like they got to him too late. He was hurt. He was threatened with never seeing his daughter. As we know, moms have the most power. It just is what it is, right? They bore that child for 9 months. I totally appreciate that. I agree with them having the most. I don't think it's equal. I just don't. The relationship between a mother and a child, I think it's hard to duplicate. Now, granted, you can still have a great relationship with a dad. I'm not saying anything against that. But yes, mostly moms get most parental rights, it seems, unless they can easily come to a mutual agreement. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'm a father of 2. I am married, but my wife and I don't have flesh and blood children together. She has 2 children. I have 2 children. Well, they're all older now. So, I had two kids from 2 moms, never been married to them. So, I'm sharing my thoughts on this, right? And that's my thoughts. But you can see the heinous. She says right here, you think you've been wrong? She continues. So I'm moving dude in, and you can actually feel wronged then. I hope for referring to his daughter's sake that you do kill yourself. This is all before he does this, okay? She would be better off not even knowing you and only knowing and referring to the other guy. Now, this is Kevin Metzger. And I'm going to tell you, this picture right here, it freaking breaks my heart. To the point, I wish I could have even just like, man, I wish I could have talked to him, right? It's like, my gosh, you'll get through this. The courts won't keep you. I don't know if I could have said the right thing. He was hurt. And in this picture right here, it absolutely makes my heart break. Because this guy, this is a great smile, great picture, and my heart breaks for him. And what could lead a person to do this? Let's be real. Mental health is a serious thing. If he was already suffering stuff from being in the army, and then you have these barrage of messages, I mean, it's going to be hard probably. We've probably all been through that moment in our life like, oh my God, we wish we weren't here, right? We've probably been through that down the road over time. Now, she continues, who knows how big she'll be when you see her again, or if she will even remember you. And so that's where it's like, why would she want to do these things? So she sends all these messages through WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a private messaging that's supposed to be secured that Facebook owns. That's secure messages. If you don't want people in your business, that's how a lot of people do it. I have used it more for, I don't even remember. I don't know if I've ever used it. I don't know. But she starts all these barrage of messages at 2:49 a.m. May 5th, 2021. This is just over a month before Metzger takes his own life. She tells the father of a child that his daughter will refer to the new boyfriend as dad from now on. How do you suppose that's going to make him feel? You would like to think that he would be like, no, I don't think so. I'm going to fight every which way. But again, I'm not in his shoes. I don't know the pain he was going through. I think it's very important that we know these things, right? And so we do know he was not a happy camper. He was hurting. And she wanted to make sure that he was hurting to the point that she says, please take your own life. It'll be better for everyone. No, it's not. The fact that she could do this to her own daughter, that's some serious hate. And if he was a wife beater, she sure wasn't scared of him, was she? Was she? She's sending these really heinous messages to him. So she wasn't scared of him, obviously. And so she is blaming him for everything. Now, she even says to him, "You'll get shot if you come back here. This is his house," referring to the new boyfriend. "I'm shredding that book with your ugly old ASS dog that you killed too." Again, blaming him. Here he is with his daughter. His daughter was his world. I believe that's his daughter. His daughter was his world. His friends even said, his daughter, don't try to take his daughter. It will leave him messed up. And so here he is with a picture of her, assisting, being the father, being in that role. This is a heartbreaking story, right? And so she is not done with all of these messages. She even says, the daughter's name, "And I are leaving. See ya never. Hopefully, hope you have an awesome Dad's Day." She says, "I ruined every bike tire that was down there. Thanks for the Mother's Day gift." Again, Mother's Day gift being not getting as much money as she was hoping. We don't even understand this at this time. I'm not going to read every single thing. And you can easily pause and catch that if you wanted to see it, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just highlighting big parts of this. She says, "I took a baseball bat and just went down there and went to town on all of your SHIT, and it felt so good." She says, "I got the idea from this place in Williamsport called the Break Room. A break room is where you can go and just break the crap out of old televisions, bang everything, let off steam. I haven't been in there, but I'm just familiar with it." And she says, "I have beautiful flowers. I have a real man who will be better for," again, the daughter, "than you." She says, again, I'm not going to read every single thing. She says, "I ask you to honor our agreement, but as scumbag women beaters don't do that." So again, that's her side. I'm not saying she's wrong. I don't know that side. I don't know this wife beater story that she's throwing at him. I don't know that. And she says, "So you do all you threatened, and I'll be over here getting your money, chilling with your daughter, happy as can be, because your fat ASS ain't around." Again, more derogatory words. "If you come near my house or any of the belongings, if you come near my house or any of the belongings you forfeited today, you get bear spray, cops, or worse." Meaning he could be shot. Because she says, "We have a gun, we'll shoot you." I already shared that with you, right? She's threatened him. Okay? So this is key. He's probably even scared to come around now. Again, I'm only getting one side right now. That's the side I'm sharing. And so she says, "Thanks for the Mother's Day gift to myself. I'm taking every piece of clothing you left behind and I'm dumping bleach on it." Now, Zoe is his dog. And this is where she's going to be sharing some ugliness about the dog. Literally. In one exchange, she says that Metzger killed their dog Zoe. She says that she is shredding a book of photos of the pet, that the dog actually hated him, and that she and her new boyfriend were going to have sex on top of the book. Who does that? Who does that? She even says that the photo book of Zoe I got you, I'm tearing it out page by page and setting it on fire and sending it to you. That's what she says. Okay? And again, she says, "I'm shredding that book with your, that you killed too." We're blaming him. And she even says that dog hated you and ran away every chance she could. As someone who has had dogs many times, I 100% doubt that. Unless he was super abusive to that dog. And again, there's going to be a lot of proof in court for her defense if he really did bad. There's going to be some proof, I'm guessing. So we'll know. And she says that dog hated you and ran away every chance, just like I ran away to suck anyone else's. You already know what. Why would she do that? She does not sound like someone who was scared of him if he was a wife beater. I'm just saying that right now. But yours, because you're literally the worst person I've ever met in my life. I almost feel like she's more of a bitter woman. It didn't work, and she was bitter about it not working. I don't know. That's just what this sounds like. And she says, I will make it my dying wish to make sure you don't see your daughter and that she knows who you really are. Wow, right? And she even says, F Zoe. Remember when you killed her? Zoe Killer, the dog, referring to the dog. Come back here and get shot by my boyfriend and his huge Serbian. We can only imagine what that is, right? That he'll be using to pleasure me this Mother's Day while your daughter calls him daddy. Come on. And we F on the book with pictures of your dead dog. Come on. Hope you see that dead dog in your head with your tongue hanging out, with her tongue hanging out. Who does that? And again, what did I say these started? 2:51 in the morning. Here we are at 3 in the morning, and she's going on and on. And so this was an ugly lady with a lot of anger towards him. It's obvious, you know. So a friend even said, Kevin just wanted to be a present dad, and she tormented him for years, right? Years, this friend is saying. Later, Reusch, she says that she will move with their child to West Virginia. Call my effing bluffs. That's what she's telling him in these exchanges, these text exchange. Now, in a separate one, she's like, I wanted you to be normal and romantic one time. I wanted you to come to an agreement and follow it. It wasn't my fault that we didn't work. But damn, am I going to get closure from you turning out to be the abusive F-head that you are? She was just an angry woman, literally. She even follows that message with a 49-second clip showing a woman herself performing oral on her new partner. She does not mention the clip in the text messages. Now, throughout this barrage of text messages, Metzger, he never responds. You saw the 2:51 a.m., 2:55 a.m., 2:59 a.m. He never replies, ever. Now, Reusch's attorney, of course, she's got a different take on it, right? Reusch's attorney, he's like, this is just some anger blowing off. So he rejects these comparisons between allegations facing his client and a 2014 case of Conrad Roy, then 18, and Michelle Carter. You see, Michelle Carter, she was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter after it emerged that she sent Roy text messages encouraging him to commit suicide. He ends up doing that. He ends his life using carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, Carter, she was found guilty. She was released from prison in 2020. And so now her attorney, De Lucente, he said that prosecutors are comparing the two cases, and Carter was actually telling him, reinforcing him to do it, planning it, the methods and the means. You don't have any of that here. What you have is an emotional relationships between two persons involving their child. And this, my friends, is where I feel a little bit like, what do you think? What do you think? I don't think that she'll spend the rest of her life in prison. There's no doubt. If she is found guilty, she may not even serve 3 years or 5 years. I don't know. But she may take a plea, a deal. We don't really know. Now, she is due back in court for another pretrial hearing on June 27th, about 11 days from this live streaming. And so, you know, the preliminary hearings, they're going to be long. They're going to be going for a little while. And, you know, the lawyer for her is saying that there's a lot of information here. There's a lot of information we have to get through, and they're going to use both sides. And of course, it's up to the prosecutor to prove that she's at fault. It's up to the defense to know. Everything they throw at them, they got to try to to disown and make the jury think there's nothing here. You're wasting time. And right now, I'm going to say, like, it's going to be hard for them to actually say, yep, those text messages led to this. But again, we're only hearing this side at the moment. And so prosecutors, they have been investigating this death for 2 years, since 2021. And prosecutors, they say that, this whole thing, his suicide note that began with the words, maybe she was right. He did that. That's what officials are sharing. He did write that as part of his Facebook post. And so officials said that his suicide note that began with the words, maybe she was right, as well as postings on his Facebook page detailed that trail of torment and solicitation that he was said to have been put through by Mandie Reusch. Now, in a press release, prosecutors also called the messages that she sent to him heinous and graphic. And she's referred to as Metzger's on-again, off-again girlfriend. They did previously live together while they were living in Irwin, Pennsylvania. Now, Trooper Steve Limani, who you can see here, he called this bullying that Metzger endured as some of the worst he's ever seen. He says, this is the next level of, or most extreme amount of bullying I've seen, read about, heard about, where somebody is constantly telling someone to end their life. You're talking about the three of the biggest triggers you can have when making someone feel awful. That's what he said. Now, her attorney, he says, my God, we're going to start prosecuting people for sending harsh texts to one another versus it being verbally communicated. Then we are on a different path of our legal system. I feel like he's getting ready to have his defense and wash this away. But my friends, let me know in the comments what your take is. Should she be prosecuted in this? I do believe there's something here, because I just read some of the most heinous messages. We don't know. Again, I shared the other story, and she was found guilty, but she was more, that was a little different. That was more, she kind of was telling him what to do, instigating it, but he was already wanting to do that. This guy didn't want to commit suicide. He just didn't know how to feel better, or he wanted her to pay, and this was probably his way to make her pay. I disagree with that. I truly will say, no, he should not have done that to himself. That part I'll never agree with. I feel like they could have got through this. What I don't know, and I won't even try to know, I don't know what was going on up there for him. Everyone deals with pain their own way. And what we do know is that Army veterans, 22 soldiers commit suicide on average every day. That's a fact, right? That we've heard from many times. And so he was probably already facing stuff, and then he had to deal with her. My friends, this is the reason why I do these stories, because you never know what could go wrong in this crazy world we live in. You never know who you're trusting, who you're going all in with. 1 minute you can love the person and not pay attention to the red flags. The red flags are most likely there. Sometimes there could be some great con artists, conniving people, but a lot of times, I know in past relationships where I was like, this wasn't going to work, but I tried anyway, the red flags were there. I just didn't quite pay attention, right? So, my friends, be careful, be alert, be aware. You never know who you're trusting. You never know what a person, how evil. Sending a 49-second clip of her giving oral? Come on. And I'm sure that will be proven in court if that's her. So again, we'll learn more as this story continues to break. I'm Manny Rodriguez. This has been another episode of Deep True Crime. Until next time, my friends, take care, be safe.